Hi, Assalamualaikum, good morning. I'm Nurul Ashikin Binti Muhammad Shahri. Due to the prolonged lockdowns resulting from the coronavirus outbreak, some Malaysians have suffered new mental health problems, but others saw a worsening of their pre-existing condition. Young adults and children are not exception to this tendency. A teenager told to the media that her feeling of overload had been made worse by online schooling caused on by spending too much time indoors. The COVID-19 problem has had a major influence on young people's mental health. The prevalence of anxiety and depressive symptoms has increased significantly among young people and is still greater than pre-crisis level when compared to the other age groups. This is true even when economies gradually reopen. The lack of access to mental health care, the wide-ranging effects of school closing and a labour market crisis that is disproportionately hurting young people are all factors contributing to the deterioration of mental health. Hello and good morning. I'm very pleased to be speaking to you today on behalf of other teenagers. I hope that you feel excited as I am to be part of this moment. I'd like to draw your attention for a few minutes to share with you about peer pressure is the cause of a lot of mental health problems during teenager years. So let me start with who can be teenager peer pressure, or we can ask ourselves, who are your peers? Let me help you to know who your peer pressure is. When you were a young child, your parents used to assign you to play with a group or schedule play dates with a certain kids they like. And no, you choose your buddies and the groups you hang out with. Now that you are older, your friends or peers are close in age to you and who share your experiences and interests. Every day, you and your pals make a dozen of decisions and have an impact on one another's preferences and actions. This is frequently a good thing because it's natural to listen to and learn from individuals your own age. Hence, peer influence is not all bad. How to detect or know when the pressure is on? Sometimes we don't realize that we are under pressure. There are 3 key points I will be discussing with you guys about this topic. So let's move on. Peer pressure may be advantageous or harmful. Peer pressure data demonstrate that when youth peers encourage them to smoke or drinks, they are more likely to do so. Teenagers and peer pressure are frequent combination. Let us start with how many types of peer pressure. Teenagers are exposed to several types of peer pressure, both expressed and silent, ranging from good to negative. Teenagers experience a variety of peer pressure, from positive to negative, that is both stated and unspoken. Both beneficial and harmful peer pressure can affect a teen's decision making. Experts claim that although good peer pressure leads in youth making healthy, advantageous decisions, negative peer pressure might influence them to participate in harmful behaviors or breach rules. Peer pressure can take the form of spoken or non-verbal behavior. As an example, silent peer pressure occurs when peers exhibit particular habits. Smoking may be observed among teenagers who are supposed to be in the crowd, giving other peers the impression that smoking is a desirable activity. Silent peer pressure may also come from observing peers wearing a particular style or clothes or listening to a particular genre of music. since observing these behaviors might influence others to make the same musical or wardrobe decision. I would like to give the example of negative peer pressure. These include encouraging a friend to engage to try alcohol or smoke cigarette, or convincing a peer to skip school. While the positive examples are supporting a friend in studying harder and improving their grades, and also inviting friends to volunteer at a charity event. How to know when the pressure's on? However, your peers may also be the cause of your life stress. They could place stress on you to do something you don't want to, like steal food, use drugs or alcohol, or take risks when driving a car. It is possible for this pressure to be observable, like, oh, come on, it's just one drink and everyone else is having one, or secretly, such as by making beer readily available at gatherings. Most of the peer pressure is harder to describe. Sometimes a group may give you cues without really saying anything, letting you know that in order to fit in and be accepted, you need to dress a certain way, behave a certain way, or adopt a specific attitude toward school, other students, parents, and instructors. Someone may feel pressured to act in a certain way just because others are doing so. A person may be persuaded by peer pressure to do something relatively harmless or something that has more major consequences. Going along with the crowd to drink or smoke is one thing. Giving in to pressure to dress a certain way is quite another. To fit in, be accepted, or to avoid feeling awkward or uncomfortable, people may feel pressured to conform. People instinctively seek to others for hints about what is and isn't appropriate when they are unclear of what to do in a social setting. Next, we go to what the effect of peer pressure. Peer pressure may have either positive or harmful effects. Initiation of drinking and drug usage can happen from peers encouraging friends to take drugs and alcohol, or making fun of them for being hesitant to try them. Teens' sexual behavior can also be influenced by peer pressure. Teens' social activity can also be influenced by peer pressure. According to one study, teenagers' sexual activity is significantly influenced by their classmates' opinion or sexuality. It's crucial to remember that peer influence can have some positive impacts in addition to its negative one. The early study discovered that attitude might be favorably influenced by peers' opinion. So what's the solution? How to handle peer pressure? Although peer pressure can be useful, many teenagers may be concerned about how to fend off pressure to engage in harmful actions. Planning ahead, selecting the correct friends, and maintaining open contact with reliable people are all important aspects of learning how to handle social pressure as a teen. The first one is learn to say no. Choosing not to take part in activities that make you uncomfortable is one approach to fend off peer pressure. For instance, you may rehearse what you would say if they offered smoke before going out with friends. You might politely reject by saying, "No, thanks," or you could remark that you don't want it to mess with your soccer practice or that it irritates your allergies. Saying no can involve getting out of dangerous circumstances. In this situation, speaking with a parent or other trusted adult who can get you out of dangerous situation might be useful. The second one is know yourself. It's crucial to keep your values in mind when under peer pressure to participate in riskier activity. By keeping this principle in mind, you will be more able to refuse an option that doesn't fit with your priorities. Lastly, you need to choose the right friends. During youth, peer impact is significant, thus it's critical to make wise friend decisions. Peer pressure may be helpful, as was previously said, thus choosing the appropriate path can assist in making wise decisions. For instance, minimizing your exposure to harmful peer pressure may be done by choosing friends who value education and engage in beneficial activities like sports and religious organizations. If you find yourself in a position where you must refuse peer pressure, people who share your principles will defend you. I have now come to the end of my presentation. Let me now summarize what I talk about, how to detect that someone or teenagers peer pressures on. The peer pressure have different types, which are positive, negative, spoken, and unspoken. I also told you guys about when someone pressures on and the effect of peer pressures among teenagers. However, I also explained the solution and how to handle peer pressure to you guys. Okay? I hope we can see each other again when such a program is held. That's all from me. Thank you.